He said, I will impose costs on you if you argue more. Then my simple reaction was, please impose costs on me, stating that for reading in the Constitution of India and not Bhagavad Gita, you are imposing costs on me. I will also face the consequences. Ravi Verma Kumar sir, maybe he left for the day. He said, quoting me, that as Chief Justice, when there was this discussion of elevation proposing, he said he did not elevate any scheduled caste judges, scheduled caste persons as judges. When the Bar Association and some seniors asked him as to why there are no scheduled caste judges, he said, we already have 2 judges. What is the need of other judges from the scheduled caste community? Now, I will tell you why he would have said this. This is very important. From those 2 judges, I'll share one experience that I had with one judge. That experience is when I was arguing a case, and while I was arguing a case, he suddenly, a scheduled caste judge unfortunately, he suddenly asks me, did you read Bhagavad Gita? I said, I was little reluctant to answer. I was silent. I was maintaining silence and I wanted to argue my case. Then again, when I started argument, he again insisted and said, did you read Bhagavad Gita? Sri Krishna had already decided the fate of this case. Who are you and me to decide? Then third time he said again, did you read Bhagavad Gita or not? Then I got pissed off. I said, my lords, I did not read Bhagavad Gita. I read the Constitution of India. You cannot pass orders on Bhagavad Gita, but Article 226 Constitution of India. This is the answer that I gave him. And he was, I said, I am sorry, I did not read Bhagavad Gita. Then you know what his reaction was? He said, I will impose costs on you if you argue more. He said, I will impose costs on you if you argue more. Then my simple reaction was, please impose costs on me, stating that for reading in the Constitution of India and not Bhagavad Gita, you are imposing costs on me. I will also face the consequences. Now, when this Brahmin judge in the collegium has this kind of representation in the scheduled caste, from the scheduled caste community, what else they want? They want the scheduled caste community judges to be in this manner, where they would not stand for the community but for the welfare of the Savarnas. And we also, that's one part of what is a real representation. I'm sorry. Another topic that we have for today's discussion, a very important topic, I think, which was not touch based upon, but I will not elaborate much on this, which we did not touch base upon, was a basic structure doctrine and the effects that the basic structure had caused. My friends, it is a little surprising to me also from the advocates community that we have very limited, if not little, a limited understanding of the Constitution and the functionality of the Constitution. This is a serious problem that I have. Because when I go to universities and give my lectures on the basic structure doctrine or the constitutional morality, we have in the morning session, our Andhra Pradesh State President, Shantakumar sir, in his speech, he kind of touched base upon what is the work that is done in Andhra Pradesh. So we go to colleges, we go to bar associations, we go to all the nook and corners of the Andhra Pradesh, and we hold these conferences on the constitutional morality. And while I talk to the students, law students, even lawyers, the very common answer that I get about what is the Constitution and what is the functioning of the Constitution, they say the Constitution, they indicate that the functioning of the Constitution is to install a government in the society. This is the whole concept of the Constitution that is understood by the common man. They think that the whole purpose is to install a government. But to put it in a very simple manner, the very important functioning of the constitution, any constitution, not only Indian constitution, any constitution would be to not frame rules or install a government, but to regulate the state. The regulation of the state is one of the primary duties of the constitution, and that becomes the primary duty of the organs of the constitution as well. But you see, now the constitution regulates the judiciary. It ought to have regulated the judiciary. The constitution should regulate the state. The constitution should regulate the executive. But with the basic structure doctrine, with the mischief that the Supreme Court has done, is the Supreme Courts and the constitutional courts are regulating the constitution, which is impermissible. They have adopted this mechanism to regulate the constitution, and we have no problem with it. We absolutely have no problem with it, because we have no understanding of it in the first place. If we had any understanding, then we should definitely have a problem. So the basic structure doctrine, you see any kind of judgments that we have got so far in the basic structure, where the Supreme Courts and High Courts have touched base upon basic structure, it is either a judgment which is opposed to the public policy and opposed to the backward class communities. Show me one judgment and a challenge we can throw to the entire country or any legal jurist that we may have. There is not a single judgment in favor of scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, other backward class communities, wherein a basic structure doctrine was applied and the rights of the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe and OBC communities are upheld. No. I don't know of any kind of judgment, Nitin. I don't know of any kind of judgment. But whenever there are judgments which goes against to the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe communities, particularly, then they bring in this basic structure doctrine. I can name the judgments. They'll bring in the basic structure doctrine and they attack the constitution. It is an attack on the constitution, in fact. So the fundamental question I ask myself is not whether how the basic structure is attacking the constitution, but I ask myself as a convener of the All Bar Association and Indian Lawyers Association, is that how far we are responsible in understanding this legal dimension and how far we are successful in taking this ideology and taking this perspective to the public, because ultimately the functioning of any body in a democratic structure is for the welfare of the people. And if they are unaware about their own rights, if they are unaware about how their rights are defeated, then as Ravi Verma Kumar sir rightly said, we want a revolution without blood. That won't happen. So it becomes our primary duty as lawyers, or if I may call only advocates, not lawyers, as advocates at least, if not lawyers, we have a moral obligation on us to enlighten the society. We have a moral obligation on us to be learned, to learn and to teach the society, go to the masses, talk to the people in their own language and explain them what are the effects and consequences of what is happening in this country. We get EWS order, we have no problem with it. We have Mandal Commission judgment, we have to revisit. My friend Nitin and we are all working towards it. We have no problem with it. We have no problem with the Keshavananda Bharati. We have no problem with the attacks on the constitution. Even the academic discourse describes the Indian constitution as a borrowed constitution, and we have no problem with it. So blatantly, I tell you, Dilip ji, in academic discourse, in Telugu, Hindi, English, Indian constitution is described in the academic textbooks as the borrowed constitution, and the name calling that I had done against the Constitution of India after the death of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar calling it as a borrowed constitution. In Telugu, they even adopted very demeaning language to define constitution, and we have no problem with it. We lost the sense of questioning. We lost the sense of reasoning. So, from the platform of All Bar Association, I only ask myself a question as to what is my contribution in the enlightening of the society.